So I think we're live.
I think we're officially live. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, first and foremost. I'm Milica. I'll be the host of today's webinar. This is my colleague, Chris, and we are so excited to guide you through the topic of today's webinar, which will be how to inspire your catalog visitors to show more buying intent. Before we proceed further, I will have Chris's help all the way through the webinar to engage you while we are presenting. And also the first question will be appearing right now. And it will be, can you hear us, guys? I think we need to make sure that all technicalities are settled down before we start diving into the topics.
Agreed. And I think we should maybe also give a fair chance for everybody to get on board.
Absolutely.
We
Few
have,
minutes for
1 minute past, but we'll just launch the first question now, just to make sure that sound quality is as it should be.
And once you are coming in, just say yes or no, but I hope that you can actually hear us.
Otherwise, it's going to be a long webinar.
Oh, no.
Cool.
Okay.
It seems like...
it seems like we're doing something okay over here, at least on the technical side.
Indeed. Yeah. It still looks like there's a few more that we just need to get on board. Absolutely. So maybe we'll just stretch it with 1 extra minute.
Absolutely.
Maybe time to get a cup of coffee or something before we
settle
kick
down.
Off.
Yeah. Make sure you're comfortable. Maybe pull a pen for notes or anything, because a good point for you guys is if you have questions along the way, please ask them in a chat. And then at the very end, we'll make sure, my colleague will actually make sure to gather all of that and we'll answer it in our Q&A session.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of great tips and tricks actually prepared for today that we're looking forward to sharing with you guys. So it might be a great idea to grab a pen and a paper. I think
it should be. It should be somewhat useful, for all of you.
Agreed. Cool. I think we'll end the poll here.
Okay. As it's working. So far, so good.
It works brilliantly. And every time we have a question, we're going to do it like this. So we're going to share the results on the screen so you can follow as well. I think with this one, it's quite straightforward. Everybody can hear us. That's great.
However, other ones will be definitely for you to kind of share your opinion, share the matter on the topic, as we will be share results.
No, just cross it down.
As we want to hear you and we want to hear your opinions and we want to get to know you as well and see how you think of the topic and how is it going. I think it will be much better for all of us, especially for the Q&A session at the end. So without further ado, let's start with the second slide. I think we can go because next one is only the overview of the agenda. And I think while everybody is still gathering and showing up and logging in, we can quickly overview the plan for today. I'll be your host and I have divided the discussion in the session into 5 different stages. We'll start with a short introduction where we will set the scene. We'll explain why is this important to even dive deep into the topic of inspiration and intention, as you can see. And then last, we'll have 2 case examples of our customers that are doing an amazing job when it comes to these 2 stages in the digital catalogs. And overall, honestly, their performance is excellent. And last, we will have a Q&A session. We will wrap it all up with your questions. Please, I encourage you right now and all the way through the webinar, ask personalized questions. We'll make sure to give you the best advice as possible at the very end that are relevant for your own personal case, right? I think without further ado, we should start with introduction.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. So we have time to cover it all. There will be great tips coming in, and I think we want to make sure that we fit it all in within an hour. So first, is the introduction. The introduction part is definitely setting the scene, seeing why is it important, what do we have to share, what is happening, why do you even discuss the topic of why do you need to inspire your catalog visitors and how can they actually show buying intent. And we'll start with showing a display of the little timeline that presents transition from print to digital, meaning coming from printed version of the catalog to the digital one. What does that mean actually? And why is this important to stop is because all this in between seems like a simple process. Okay, you have a printed PDF, right? You paste it online and you're good to go. However, there are a bit more to add in order to make it as effective as you're doing with your printed version. And everything in between, all these empty spaces between the dots are actually tips and tricks we'll be sharing to help you fill in that and then do better than you're doing now and excel at the end in your digital performance of the catalogs. And to make that even more clear, let's see the printed version of the catalog first. And how does the customer journey for the printed version looks like? So we do have an offline customer journey with the printed version of the catalog. And as you can see in a video, it's pretty well-known format, familiar. We're all used to it. We all faced it once, right? We still use it. And what we have it's tangible. We can touch it. We can sense it. We can feel it. We can see everything. It's very well designed. And the most important things is that we have products and offers. And that's basically what we were looking for, right? However, can we agree that it's just a limited information provided? As all you see is like the product and the offer. Yeah, offer is great, and that's why you have it. You want to promote the offer of your week or month or a day. But I think the storyline is not exactly the same when it comes to the digital version.
That's true.
As having only the offer and the product displayed is not enough in the digital world. Digital world gives you so many opportunities, and we can all agree that we're a bit overwhelmed when we browse the internet. There's information overflowing, like where to go, what to do. Oh, well, look at this sponsored commercial. Look at it, like, where am I supposed to see? And then our attention span is super short. And same goes when you browse the digital catalog, because you will go and you'll see, oh, look, oh, but I see something over there. Oh, I saw this, I'll see later, and so on. And then you forget. And that's why you need to add a bit more. And it would be nice to have it more interactive. If we can make it interactive for your customers, if you can provide additional content, maybe some extra information that they didn't even know they need. And also, if you enable them possibility to buy. And we can see displayed on the video that the shopping basket, the extra information, store location, all the useful information that you can think the customer can actually look for or Google can be actually fitted into the catalog. So they have it right away while they're browsing your offer. And then you make a complete, fulfilled customer journey for them.
Yeah.
I think that's just how it is. I hope you all get it.
I think it
does make sense. If not, here we are. We have a store metaphor. And this is something we have implemented. It's our framework that is basically a step-by-step guide to success. And this is how we approach digital catalogs. Let me explain to you so it makes sense for you as well. So we compare it to the physical store, meaning that we draw a parallel line. Okay, so we have a digital catalog and a physical store. Can we approach it the same way? Sure, we do, indeed. And we divide it into 4 different sections. We have attraction, we have inspiration, intention, and conversion. And let me tell you a little story about each stage so you get where we are heading with this storyline. So in order for people to buy products and to actually go to the store, they need to be aware that store actually exists. Either you'll be a big brand or you will be well located, you're long-term on the market and so on. They will know and they will go into the store, or you will promote it well. Oh, we have a new store opening and so on. And then the same goes with the catalogs. You need to position it well, place it well, promote it on social media. They need to be aware that you actually have a digital catalog that they can visit, and you're good to go. Once they have entered the store or the digital catalog, and it's a work that it needs to be done. It's how can you inspire them? What do you need to do? Of course, some customers come to the store. Oh, I need milk. I really need milk. And you just go directly to the milk aisle. But if on your way to the milk, you see, oh, these are new cookies. Oh, some good chocolate. Maybe what's that? You'll stop and see, maybe you want it. And oh yeah, let me just grab it. The same thing can be done within the digital catalogs. You saw first page, oh, I want to see that. But you're like, oh, look at this content. Let me browse. Let me see what is there else to be visible. And then there is an intention part. So you're making them, you're motivating them to create buying intention. And then you help them out on that journey. So you manage to motivate them, you inspire them to buy. Now, when it comes to digital catalogs, you will help them with the basket. You can have shopping basket integrated. Where can they click and collect? If they click, then now they need to collect. Or just to sign up for to bring news, like, well, let me see what else they have to offer. And last but not least is conversion. Mm-hmm. The word says for itself, you need to convert. That's kind of the whole point about it. Yeah, you want to make money out of it. And the same goes with digital catalogs. People forget that we can use digital catalogs to, convert stuff, and that we can actually use them as a sales channel. And this is the whole idea. So you maximize the potential. You don't use it only for advertisement and promotion, but you actually take the maximum use out of it. And that's why, as each stage follows one another, mm-hmm. It's very important to do a very good job when it comes to inspiration and intention.
And I think just a short point in this, it's kind of interesting when we look at these stages, because once in a while, we also use this framework, right? Yeah. To go out and analyze the market and look at how well do the retailers do in the market out there. And it is interesting to see how many that are actually neglecting this and how many that are forgetting about this when you go online.
Sure.
And it's understandable because it is difficult to transition from a classic print mindset.
Absolutely.
Where the format was enough to going digital, where the format is still great, but you need to do more to succeed with it,
and
right?
Format is still similar, right?
Indeed.
You just take more use out of it, not only to promote and send out the offer.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I think there's something there, at least, that is a core reason for also hosting this today, to kind of put some spotlight on that there are more opportunities that make sense to take advantage of, right?
Absolutely. That we all tend to forget about.
Yeah.
And you need to think it through, and we'll hopefully help you by sharing tactics and strategies we have it proven on the market. How can you succeed in all of those?
Exactly.
And now, as we can see, the highlighted stages are inspiration and intention. Of course, one follows another, but let's assume that you are all doing a pretty good job in attracting. And let's put a little bit extra effort in inspiration and intention, which will lead us to the conversion at the very end.
True.
And before we proceed further, let me ask you another question. Chris, can you run it?
Yes, I can. Because I think centered around these two in the middle, which is going to be the core of the rest of the webinar, inspiration and intention.
Yeah.
Our question is where you actually feel like there's the biggest potential for your own business to improve. Is it in the inspire stage or in the intention stage? And I think just to emphasize, inspire is where you use all the storytelling elements and videos and all that stuff that you're gonna
just all the additional content that you can actually fit into the digital catalog. True. Whereas intention is how can you encourage them to convert, to make a conversion later on.
Pick up on the interest that they have shown and try to use that at the best intent.
Yeah.
So we'll just give a few extra seconds. I can see that answers is chipping in right now. And it's actually varying a bit. It started with the inspiration being very heavy against.
But now we're almost 50-50.
But we're almost 50-50. True that.
I guess now you're realizing which stage represents what. And okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you haven't voted yet, then let's say 3, 2, 1, and let's end the poll here. I think it turns out that it is actually quite even between the two. If we share the results here. Everyone would be able to see that we have almost 50-50, 58 in one and 42 in the other one. But that's quite fortunate, right? That means that both stages is going to be relevant. And I know there's a lot of good takeaways in both.
You'll definitely gain knowledge out of it. And speaking about that.
True.
Let's see. So what will you be able to learn throughout this webinar is these 3 main takeaways, I guess. The first one is how to improve your marketing KPIs, meaning we all want to increase the pages that we display in our digital catalogs. And by inspiring catalog visitors and also like showing the intent, they will spend more time, and then once they see more pages, they will spend more time. So that kind of raises up as well. And hopefully that will encourage them to click. If you give them things to click, and engage within it, the number of clicks will definitely rise up.
That's what we see, at least.
I hope so, that they will listen to us too. And then we have analysis, track the data. You need to track the data. You can collect valuable insights out of these clicks, pages, views, and time spent. And by actually analyzing the customer behavior, you can identify your good points, loopholes, and then you can improve or keep doing whatever is doing good for you, as there is no one size fit all. And that's important to know, because sometimes more is less. Sometimes you need more to provide them so they engage and they actually are inspired and are showing buying intent. And you can only identify that by tracking. And that's something we don't have in the print version, because print you just send out. And over here, when you're doing something and you're putting that extra work and effort, you can see the results and you know where to add and what to do. But also,
and I would believe as well that our attendees today might also be able to recognize that there's been, the format has been trusted for so many years and we know it works, but it is so difficult to measure exactly what's the impact.
What it brings, Yeah.
And
over here, you can do that. And it's an important thing to do, because people forget that they can analyze stuff and they should probably track the data when it comes to that.
True.
And then last but not least is that you can use your catalog as a sales channel. So turn it into a conversion driving channel and make sales even out of the digital catalog. Now, without further ado, let's dive straight into the topics of today's discussion. It's actually inspiration, which is the first stage we're going to cover. As we mentioned, it's a second stage in our store metaphor, and we'll definitely show you now the tactics and share the insights. How can you inspire your digital catalog visitors? Why is that important? Let's first emphasize on that. Let's set an emphasis on that. So you need to inspire them so they spend more time in your digital catalog. Then, by spending more time, hopefully they will see more pages, because if one is interesting, let me see what another has to show, That's how kind of it goes. And then you want them to engage. You want to inspire them so they're engaged and their attention span is there, the attention is captured, and they want to be there. And before we proceed to the tactics itself, I think we should ask our attendees a question when it comes to the inspiration. So let's shoot that one.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I think the question you'll get here is about the type of metrics that you are using when you assess the success rate of the Inspire stage.
Yeah.
So which of these metrics, and you can choose multiple, which of these are most important to you?
Yeah.
So if you can rank them, it would be awesome just to also see what you're working with today and what you value in your business.
Yeah.
I think from my experience, it varies a lot from business to business. Which
Absolutely.
one is the key one here?
It really depends on the industry, on the target audience, honestly. What do you want to achieve with that? How big is the catalog? Are they weekly offers, monthly offers, inspirational catalogs?
Yeah.
It all really varies on many different case scenarios. But I think at the end of the day, each one is important.
Yeah, agreed.
And we should definitely pay attention, ideally, to all three of those.
Agreed. And I think that's also what the answer shows so far, that everybody kind of agrees in which one is the most important, at least. And second is actually a split between two of them. But we'll just give a couple of extra seconds, as I can see that there's still a few attendees who haven't answered yet.
Yep.
And it's also fair. Like, I mean, we work with this on a daily basis. So for us, this is top of mind. But I think this is also it's still morning, right? And we ask silly questions about what metrics.
You actually need to think it through.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I think it matters. And it seems like everybody has had a fair chance now to give their answer. So we'll just end it here. And then I'll share the results.
And as we can see,
right now shows that content clicks is actually the ones that you all agree in has the highest priority.
Well, because I think that one takes the most time. And then when you put effort and time, resources and data, you want that content to be clicked, you want them to see.
And it's the ultimate proof that the extra content is engaging, of course. Whereas time spent in catalog and pages seen might sometimes also be a side effect of it, but at the same time, equally important because it also shows some valuable insights about the format. Like, people want to spend time in it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you need to know, and it kind of, you want them, if you have 35 pages, you want them to see all 35, ideally, if not at least 30, and browse through it. Hopefully, either quickly as in the printed version, but if not, engage with the most as possible. I can agree with this.
Definitely. So we'll stop sharing and then let's go to the tactics.
Let's go. So the first one on the table is add animations. As you probably already know, we can add animations into our digital catalogs. They can be icons that are movable, that fade away, fade in, and do who knows what. So you emphasize that there is, a little icon that can be clicked or so. You can add GIFs. GIFs are animated itself, that they just move. So they give a sense of dynamic catalog. And all these different small additions just give you the better customer journey experience because you see it's interactive. It emphasizes that it can be interactive and there is more than just browsing through the pages. And that would be the first one. The second tactic we have is adding additional visual elements. When we say additional visual elements, we mean that you can add additional pictures. You can add videos. You can add slideshow of the pictures. It can be placed somewhere behind those little icons, so you don't take the space out of your regular catalog and you don't mess up with the design, but you still provide them with more, with that additional content that they didn't even know they need. Then you can add additional product information. It can be inspirational, as you can see. You can provide them with like a recipe for a steak. You can provide them with like the information about the product itself. Oh, but this is actually made from here. This is important from here. This is how you use it. And again, the information they didn't even know they need, but it can be definitely useful. They can learn something new out of it, or they can just, this is something new. Like, this could be useful. Yeah, I know. Then you can also add videos and Haze, because they are visual, you see, then you maybe want it. It helps in creating that buying intent because, I actually like how this is, how this, fits her, so on, when fashion is at stake and so on. So adding visual elements is very important. And it's a great way to you just give them that additional content that you cannot provide them in the printed format.
Agreed. And I think this also ties back to the beginning, the intro you had about the difference between print and online.
Because we are limited information over there,
but
over here, use all the space available and all the features that you can to give them a little extra. And then guess what? They will engage more. They will spend more time. And at the end of the day, they will buy more. Use it as a sales channel.
Indeed.
Then we have providing extra content. Seems similar, but it's not, meaning that additional information in this sense can be product descriptions. So not the relevant information to the, section of breads as we can see over here. Don't mind, these are dummy catalogs. This is our trial, and it's just so you can visualize it, so you can see the idea behind it. And that extra content is basically, look at this. We have all these different 5 grilling tips. You can add like, okay, you want to display, and then you can show like multiple product of one single item that you listed. Then you add sizes. You'd add like, oh, this is how you can fit, this is how you can style it. Everything that you would add in your website can basically be recycled and used in your digital catalog. So people have all the information without leaving the website, without leaving the catalog. So they don't need to browse extra. They just have it over here, right where the offer stands. And I think that's a great thing. And people forget that they can just recycle information and just use it. So you make their life easier, and they will be thankful. The customers will be thankful for doing that.
True, and it's even an option for also adding extra online only offers and stuff like that. True. So if you want to ramp up on your digital format, then this is also an opportunity for providing more of that.
Yes. And then last one for the inspirational stage is that showing product variants. When we say product variants, we assume that some of the products have different, like you have it displayed in your physical store in different versions. Is it different size of the product? Is it different color of a single product? Is it different, smell, taste, whatever we are talking about? If we, use the products of chemical products and so on. Oh, but I have it in a lemon size, in this one and so on. With here, we can sum up all the breads available, and then you can choose, oh, I want this, this, and that instead of clicking to each bread displayed. Or if we have, for instance, let's say lipsticks, and then you have a lipstick and then you want to display it in all different colors that you have available. I click on the one version or one display of the lipstick, you have it all, like you have it sum up all. And then people are sometimes even surprised when they see that, because, oh, look, but I actually have a choice. I have variants to choose out from. And you were not even expecting that. And then maybe they will buy the one they saw, firstly, but they will also go for another one and another one. And that's where whole point is, because you just give them options. And it's always good to have options. Nowadays, especially, we have so many options available everywhere. So it's just another way to do extra content, to provide them with all that additional information that is useful for them. And it's easier for them to guide through it. And then you display more of your products.
And I think for the next stage that you're going to present in a moment, the intent stage, where you want to pick up on the buying intent they have, it's so much more efficient if you, instead of having just a bunch of variants that is one size fits all, you can click on them and get to an overview again, that they can pick exactly what they fell in love with when they found it.
And having multiple of everything is always a good idea, because as we know, one size doesn't fit all.
Indeed.
Let's wrap it all up with the success metrics. As we mentioned, it's very important to track the data. And why is it important? Because then you will know that you're doing a good job, or you can improve here and there. And was this even worth it? Was putting this little extra effort, providing all that relevant additional content, even worth of the time and whatever resources I'm investing at the end of the day? Yes. Well, you'll see if it is, but it should be at the end of the day, if you're doing the right for your target audience. And how we can see that and how we can measure that is by actually seeing how much time does the average customer spend in my digital catalog. How many pages are seen? If I have 30 pages in total, how many pages are seen by average visitor, and how many content is actually clicked? Do they engaged? Is this working? Is this not? Is this video too long? Like they didn't even notice it? Oh, this was actually where they interacted. And that's where you click and collect what is good, pick up on what's good, what's not, and either repeat it, improve it, or just get rid of it, if it's not working for you.
Yeah.
And as we can see on the side, like here in iPaper, we have analytics that is built into our platform, and it tracks all of that. I know that everybody has different way of measuring this and tracking, but this is just a display so you can see how that can be tracked. And people sometimes forget that I can actually measure. And sometimes numbers speak more than words. So you see it, and it's easier for you to follow, especially when you do something new and when you're testing something out.
And it's also a matter of backtracking, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you apply this testing mindset and you start adding more of these things, and you have certain metrics here that you want to actually improve on, then being able to backtrack what actually worked. Was it the video that made the audience spend longer time or click more products and so forth? So being able to connect the dots here is kind of crucial, and
find your perfect fit for what will work for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I hope this was nice. It was well understood, because now we're diving into the stage of intention. And as I repeated already myself 3 times, one stage follows another. And now when we inspire them properly, and when we did a good job with inspiration, they should definitely have their buying intent,
True.
created. And how can we do that? How can we make sure that they can actually show it off? And how can we make sure to boost that up a little bit more? We'll show you now in a second. But before, again, why is this important? It's important that once you added that extra content, once they're spending time browsing the catalog, seeing all of that, they actually engage with all this content you provided. So not only click, but they engage, they, react and so on. Then if you enable them the shopping basket in your catalog, it's important they use it. So you have that as well. And then also it's easy way to call for action. If you want to promote a new current offer that they have, sign up for our newsletters, check this out, visit the opening of a new store, any kind of call for action can be added. And that's also showing the buying intent if they show the interest in it, right? And it's your way, easy way to go, low hanging fruits and just pull them out. And now again, before we proceed further, let's shoot a question for you when it comes to the intention stage. What do you think is the most important, right?
Agreed.
What would you like?
And like the last time, we have selected some of the most crucial and core metrics that we typically work with in a catalog when it comes to the intent stage of showing buying intent. So again, you have 3 options, but please try to rate them and come with your feedback on how important do you see each of these metrics being for your business, and how much do you value them when it comes to the catalog performance. So we have actions clicked, which is kind of straightforward. It could be the product selection or something like that.
Yeah.
Products added to basket. That's when you add them to basket, right? And you don't even, you not only read more details about it, but you also choose to add them to your basket. And then signups is a bit of I would say an odd one out, because it's one that many forget about, but I know you'll talk more about that in a second. But newsletter signups could also be one of the more soft converters to place in this stage.
It is. But it really affects how you operate your business.
Definitely.
And do set an emphasis of that.
Definitely.
Many of the retailers have it, and they encourage their customers to become loyal and be keeping track. But it's also, in comparison to actions click on products added to basket, could be less important, kind of.
Definitely. But I think when we look at it here, the answer is again quite clear. If we end the poll here and we try to share the results, then all of you will realize that you all seem to value the products added to basket the most, which is quite understandable. That's also the easiest one to measure and closest to being a sale. With that being said, there's also a quite high actually rating of more information on the products and additional actions that you can place in the catalog, and for good reason.
Absolutely.
Because I think this is a very, very important stage actually, where all the good effort that you put into the first 2 stages is now
paying off. It's just paying off, simply paying off.
True that. And for newsletter signups, fair enough. As expected, it is rated as important, but it's not as important as the rest. And for good reason, because I also think that might be one of the missing opportunities that
you didn't even think of it.
Exactly.
Would not say maybe lack of awareness that you can actually, just include with that.
And of course, it's also more soft, so it can't be as important as adding to basket.
We'll cover it now later on, because each one of the tactics will show and appear, and they will make even more sense now when we dive into each one of it. And the first, and the one that is most important for you, obviously, is the shopping within the catalog. And why is it important? Well, once you make it possible for your catalog visitors to buy directly out of the catalog, not only through your e-commerce and they have to go to the website and all the products they saw, it is very important for you to track and to see if they actually added, how many products they added, which product works, are the products well placed. But also you need to emphasize the shopping patterns, so sometimes you can even make it, once you clicked, so it's green. Okay, they've added this product to the shopping, and that's how you make it interactive for them. So the customers actually see, oh, this is cool. So I added this product to the basket. Nice. And that's the fun way to engage. Then you have enabling the basket itself is also so useful, because you can browse, you can go back to the basket, because if you see 2 similar products, oh, I changed my mind. Just go and okay, change this one for that. Or you're like, oh, this is actually a good price. Maybe I should have 5, not only 1. And all of that can be edited in the basket directly. So you don't have to click 73 times, on the single product or so on. You just, correct the numbers or click simple button and so on, and you're good to go.
Classic e-commerce.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to have it in the catalog.
And I think another point to add about this is that in the best cases we see, it's not only done in the catalog where you see it as is right here, but it's actually melded together. So it's a seamless experience with the e-commerce solution.
Exactly.
So you also use all the data and whatever you have in the e-commerce solution to create a great shopping experience and tailor it to the customer.
Yeah.
So there's so many options here that is worth looking into when you are to get more out of your catalog setup online.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's how you push it, that's how to use the most potential. Basically, that's what it is. If you have a weekly offer or just a weekend offer, and they're running, that's the way to, make the most out of it.
Indeed.
Yeah. So the next one, similar, but definitely not the same. This is not the case potato. This is actually completely different story, is wish list, shopping list. We still can add to the basket and you can still have the overview on a side. But the whole idea is that you're not checking out through the e-commerce. You're not doing that. You're not actually purchasing at the moment. You're creating a wish or shopping list for yourself. Let's give an example. Well, what's the difference? You probably wonder well, what is the difference between wish list and shopping list? I think the word says for itself, but let me explain it to you on a very simple way. Shopping list. So weekly grocery shop leaflet. Oh, let me see. Whoa, this is a good price. We don't need this, but it's a good price. We actually need this for our Sunday lunch, right? Add it. And then as you can over here, fill your name, add it to your own email, and then you have it. Or even better, just send it to your partner and hey, can you please pick it up on your way home? I think that's just the perfect solution because I know the store is right on your way home. Just go and pick up all of these information that I said. Whereas on a wish list, for instance, we're looking at not the groceries perhaps, but some bigger stuff. And then we have it okay, I like this. I like that as well. Maybe I can add this. Oh, I maybe want it, but not now. Maybe when I get my salary, you have so many options, but you add it. So you have it because it's a monthly offer and you still have time to think, add it to the wish list and you have it. Or even, what could be the case? You go you have a birthday and nowadays, we're all open grown-ups. I want this, and that. Share a wish list with your friends group. I want that. And then they can agree in between, basically. But it's easy way to display what you want to show, quick for you, quick for them. You don't need to browse. Everything is in one place. And it's just easy way to go. And it's another option when you perhaps don't have e-commerce, but you still want to drive traffic and you still want to take the usage out of the animations and so on. You make a shopping list, but your conversion point is not happening through the e-commerce. However, it is happening through the click and collect perhaps. And you maybe have click and collect options, or you don't, but you can think of it because now you can have a list and then they can print it out and they can just come and click and collect. And
I think it's back to the classic, as we also said before with the shopping. Look at your current customer journey today. Look at the offers you have available in your e-commerce setup or in your online setup, and try to mirror that or melt it together with the flipbook experience so that your online catalog becomes an integrated part of your online setup instead of a detached
extra detail, additional effort, because it's nice to have it. I agree, but take use out of it.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
So that's also another option. And if you include that, if you think about that option, click and collect option, shopping list, and if we move to the next one, having the option for find the nearest store, external link that is implemented in your digital catalog is the perfect way to do so, because now you're okay, I can actually go and click and collect this, but where do I go? And then you just open one click away and you're oh, here it is. It's actually only, 2 kilometers away from me. I can do that, or away from my work. We can do that. I can do that definitely. And that's also another information that your customers didn't even know they need, but you provide it directly in the catalog, because they would probably browse and search on the Google once they've decided to buy, because the shopping intent is made. That's fine. But where do I go to buy it? How do I go when the products are big or something's happening? Where can I find the store? Where can I want to see it in person? What if you see something it's very good and you add it to the wish list, but I actually want to check it in person first?
True.
And then you want to but where can I see it? And then, okay, maybe you don't know, or is there anything new closer? Now I'm here. I want to do it now because I see the offer is expiring within 2 days. So let's see it out. That's another idea for you. So you can check out where you can click, where you can collect once you've clicked, and also where you can find the stores that you want to visit because you were so inspired out of your digital catalog that now you want to see it all in person. And that's another way to drive traffic. So the digital catalog do not only have to serve for driving traffic and making conversions directly out of the catalog, but also for okay, this looks cool. I want to go and check it out. That's also the way you can measure it and look forward to it and use it.
And that's a balance also to strike. We know that from many of the retail customers we're working with, that if you have stores and it's a part of your strategy, well, then at least those brands have the priority also between we should help the stores, we should also help online. And this is a way to bridge the gap, because at the end of the day, it's a matter of making it as convenient as possible for the customer to buy, right?
Exactly, giving options.
Yeah.
It's all about giving them options. Someone prefers online, it's easier, simplified, they don't like it. Whereas we still have people who really like to have it tangible and in person, but you need to get inspired first. And once you find out, just go and see it. It's not a problem. And then last, the one you kind of perceived as the least important, but take another look at it. It's a call to action, and we can call it like just simply call to action. And the simplest, the most relevant, I think, example for all of you would be sign up for newsletters, because many retailers are doing nowadays. And then that's why we use it as an example. And how you can have it. You can have it as a pop-up. You can have it in a down banner, so it runs, because maybe you don't notice it immediately, but after 10th page, I guess, or after you spend some time, you're like, okay, what's that? Oh, sign up. Oh, yeah, one click away. It's just one click away. You do not have to go to the website, browse through it, fill in, and so on. It will be there for you. And I think it's an amazing way to actually, for retailers where market is so competitive, especially online, to kind of make the customers more loyal. Keep it up to date so they don't have to browse themselves, but you have them over there. There is some kind of a relationship, and it's a simple call to action, but it can bring you more than you think.
Agreed.
Would you agree?
And especially when you also use the catalog in the newsletter that you send out, because you could argue that the product is more tangible and right here and now short term, but actually I see this one being more long term, that when you have been fighting for getting the customer's attention, then making it easier for you the week after to get their attention again, instead of having to fight for it again. You get the sign up while they're here, while they see the value, and maybe offer them to receive this in their mailbox every single week, so they have the best offers.
I would even have like a special offer, for my customers that are signed up, or something, or like a little bit extra. Extra content is always good to go. Agreed. It depends how much time, content you have available, and data, but definitely having them signed up so they are immediately subscribed to all the offers that you're running on bi-weekly, weekly, weekend, or monthly basis is just a good way to go. And
I would say if you don't do it today, then it's indeed a low-hanging fruit that go out and implement it.
You can definitely do it tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's not a lot of work, but it can bring you more than you think. And let's wrap that all up with the success metrics again, as what we have. Still, it can be trackable, traceable, true, indeed. And then what we need to measure in order to see, like, are we doing that right? Are we doing are they actually showing intent? Like, how do I know? Well, did they engage with the actions? Did they interact with all the actions that you allow them? Did they actually added products to the basket wish list? Did they made a wish list? Do they know that there is an option to, there's like multiple ways to go around that. But all it is, like, are you making them aware that they can actually do all of those stuff? And once they are aware, trust me, they will use it. That's how it always ends up. And then, of course, calling to action, you will see, okay, I published, I added, and I actually have 10 new signups. That's pretty good, right? People don't sign up that often, or not. Why not subscribe? Or I like this, I want to see more of you. And on the right side of a picture, which you are seeing, and you're probably wondering, what is this? This is a simple example of a heat map. That's how we call it. And the heat map actually represents the clicks, where they clicked, where they engaged. All this, neon colors, and that you can see like purple and greenish and so on, is where the most clicks were made. And as we can see now, over there, we're probably, as I assume, because this is a PDF display, where the little basket, added the basket icons, and they've added the products to the baskets. And that's how it goes. Then you see, okay, this one was good, and they really like this offer, and this was placed well, and this actually works, and this is now in demand. So let's supply more. Let's give them more of it. Oh, they actually saw this video. And that's how you can track, also another way beside numbers, to track the metrics and to see how well you're performing. And I think it's time to go to our cases, right?
Let's do that.
Because now everything will make more sense, I guess. This is quite practical.
Hopefully.
I really hope. This was practical. This was useful for you, and you can definitely suit it into your own business case, and you can think, how will that work for me? If that will work for me, and how can I suit it? But let me show you the actual examples of our customers, and how does it look in a live version? Like what are they doing? And just a proof case that these tactics actually work. And first on the table is Oriflame. When it comes to the Oriflame, we have, as we can see, we have a catalog where when you enter, you choose the area, right? which language barrier I want. Now they have it displayed very well. It's over there. You can see that it's happening. And Oriflame is a very well-known format. We know it from back in the days. They had amazing printed catalogs. We all loved it, at least girls, right? When we were younger, that was like, oh, let me see if there's one list, like templates of this and that. And it's very hard to make that good of an experience in an online version. Why? Well, because I cannot give you, the sample of it. And what am I supposed to do now to engage you and attract you and to show you how good we are? And this is one way to go. Even the first side was video, it's animated. You're like, oh, wow, this looks cool. I want to see what's next. And then you have more videos, animations, design is beautiful. Yes, that's on their behalf. But all this layout you see, following icons, then you click, you go to the menu. Menu leads you to each one of the sections because, yes, they have huge catalogs or 100 pages. I don't think we have that much time, usually in our daily lives. Maybe you'll get back and see eventually all of it. But you can definitely browse to the section that you want. Am I buying something for my partner, my brother, or who knows? Or am I buying something for myself? I actually just need makeup, And now when I'm in the makeup section, I have so many options. And then I have product descriptions, as we can see, all the relevant information about the single product. I also have a product variants. So I can click and I can see multiple variants of a single product. I have videos. I have additional information about, okay, let me see. Oh, this is how I use this one. I didn't know that. Let me see. Okay, good. And then you have, let's see, this lipstick actually has, SPF in it, and maybe somebody will find that super relevant and like, I actually want to buy it now. I didn't want it. I have a red lipstick, but I don't have it with SPF and summer is approaching. So that would be a good idea. And then on a side, we can see the basket where you can add products, you can delete products, you can add multiple products. And over here, as I mentioned before, you have different colors of a single, and I like the other two, right? And then let me have both. This animations, this video you see, this is 50% off. Have it in their face so they know they're actually aware, and then you attract them. And I think it's capturing your attention so well. You're so engaged because you're pleasant. And this is very interesting feature they have. So now we are in the special offer.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can see just this cosmetic line that's super new, they just implemented. You can still add to the same basket, but once you go back to the catalog, it will get you back to the pages where you left off, and you just continue, and then you just go, see everything, and you didn't lose all the products you were having in the basket, and you can browse more, you can continue, you can do whatever you want.
And I think Oriflame is actually a prime example here of how you really can take advantage of the online journey by using some of the mechanisms you have here. And I would go as far as saying that in the offline world, I believe the catalog has been an inspiration/sales tool for years, but now you can talk about that this has really become a tool as well
in the
for the online user.
Exactly.
They can browse it, they can navigate it quite fast back and forth, and it makes it just easy and convenient for them.
It's super easy.
To
I
complete
found
a
what I
shopping
want
journey.
now. Yeah, let me go back to this. Let me see what more they have. And I just think I'm surprised every time when they publish new monthly offers, like, okay, this looks nice.
Agreed.
Let me see what else they have. And also the conversion points, something else to speak about, but they can convert in multiple different ways directly to the sales reps.
That's put effort into this, definitely. And I think it's really nice to see, but I also know it pays off.
It pays off, especially in
D2C
market. It's in D2C market, and they need to take the most out of it. Yeah. And as we can see, the numbers speak for itself too.
True.
They have increased all the orders that are placed. 10% of orders are coming directly from the catalog, which I think is impressive, quite impressive, as they do have their e-commerce and website and still printed versions and so on. And also 20% of the product is added to the basket directly from the catalog. So they saw all the relevant information thanks to these product descriptions and the multiple product variants. So you didn't need to browse any extra. You just saw everything over here. Then the next case that we're going to show, it's maybe not as familiar to you, but it's Coctus. It's a Turkish brand, DIY brand, that is doing also amazing job. And I picked it up as it's a retailer and they don't have D2C, they're B2C. And it could be relevant and very inspirational for all of you. And I think that they're doing an impressive job when it comes to designing, branding, and also organizing their digital catalogs. As we can see on the left, we had like a display of all the like sections. And then you can also go back and here and there. Product variants is available. Once you click to the variants, you have a product description. So you see, okay, once you add it to the basket, it's green. Okay, I added this one. So I bought it. So like you would circle in a printed version, you would probably circle that one. I want to buy that one. Over here, you have it displayed. Then you can add to the basket, make a shopping list, wish list, as you said. Again, product variants, not the color, but the size. but still, okay, this is how it looks. This is the details. Fine, works for me. And I think it's just great, all the options that you have and that you can compare once you add it to the basket. If the two products are similar, then you might compare the price, right? Or the size or the design itself at the end of the day. You can have a quick overview once before you check out. Yeah. Then you know. But also having like just a single picture of the product, but then showing 3 different versions, because I would maybe not go for the red one, but the white one on the other side would do the work for me. And I think that's the whole point, that you give them more than they actually ask for. And then it still looks visually pleasant. You're not overwhelmed with text, informations, or anything. And you have everything and more than you needed in your digital catalogs. It's a way to inspire, as you can see with the offer over here, little pop-up, subscribe, download our application, then you will see extra, you can have extra discounts or something. That's what people tend to do. You have a banner running, which will be the call for action. Go sign up for newsletters, check this out, check so on. And that's just one way of how it can look like.
And I think this is another example that actually summarizes quite well many of the tactics that you've just shown.
Exactly.
So I think they've also really put some effort into it. And
really
I think it's nice to see.
The few pictures of the product, description, size, measures, I mean, not the size, and you have it all.
Agreed.
And I would probably see that, okay, let me see if I can fit that on my balcony. Like, I don't know, it looks nice, but I don't know if I can fit because it's small, you know, and then you sit it's like, oh, I like this, but I'm not that much. Oh, they have it in red. Good. And that's just how it should be for each one of the customer, not only me, you, Chris, or some over there. You have to think, how does customer experience whole journey?
True. I'm considering the red one as well.
White. I like white. I absolutely like white.
Perfect.
And that sums up all the strategies that we've shown.
It does.
And over here, you can have a little overview, take a look, read it through. We can read through it together again. I mean, because these are the 2 stages. As I said, I will assume that you're all doing good in attraction or good enough that people know. Since you're here, you have a digital catalog. You want to take the most out of it. So they know, then you have traffic running into it. But let's make to the conversion stage. And how you do that? Start with inspiration. As we said, add visuals, they will catch attention, it will be dynamic, they will realize it's an interactive catalog. Then provide the audience with all the additional information, meaning different colors, extra recipes, extra information, measure, size, everything you can think of that could potentially be relevant. You start with recycling the data you already have on your e-commerce, and then maybe you end up as an Oriflame, but this is how you put the foundation, you know, and then you're good to go. Then you present the product variants, as I said, color, sizes. Amazing way to save the space up, but display more products that you would offer in a physical store. And then use pop-up. Use pop-up to call for action, to show the video, to do this. Use a pop-up so they know, and add that a little bit, you know, cherry on the top of the cake. Once you did all of that, comes the intention. Make it possible to buy directly from the digital leaflet. Enable that shopping basket, and then you're one way closer to the conversion and easy way to convert points. Then enable creation of a wish list and shopping list. We have mentioned, now you can recall it. Okay, I can send it to my husband to buy groceries on his way home, but I can also send a wish list to my friends. So because I actually want that, I'm moving into my new house. I need all of those, you know, or baby shower, you know, you just do this and this and that, and you're good to go. And then information about the nearest store. Always remember, click and collect could be good association. If you don't think like, why would I need that? But if I have a click and collect, which is easy way to go, another low hanging fruit to collect, I just add a store and they go and pick it up, especially if they, you know, just that's the way to do it if you don't have an e-commerce. And then sign up for newsletters. Think about it. If you're not doing it and you are, if you promote it a little bit more in your catalog, it will bring you more than you think. And I think that will give us the last question before the Q&A session.
Indeed.
That we would like you to answer. And Chris?
And I think it circles a bit back to the beginning where we talked about that. We've been doing, once in a while, we do some analysis of the market, of course, looking at how is this being adopted out there. In a moment, you'll also present that we also did it from a consumer perspective last year, actually.
In our survey.
Where we surveyed the consumers on what do they prefer? What do they request and want out there?
What are they missing? What are they liking?
Like, how can we ease their shopping experience?
Exactly.
But I think with this, there's still something interesting in that even though there's a demand, which clearly is presented in the survey, but also there is some clear benefits of doing the tactics that we see here. We still see that many companies is not taking real advantage of all the opportunities. And that leads to the last question here, which is basically getting your take on what do you see as the main factor? preventing companies from utilizing these tactics? What do you think it is? Is it lack of knowledge about that the tactics exist and that it's possible? Or is it lack of resources and time, which I believe always is a factor, right? So
for some of the options,
yeah,
sometimes you cannot do it all, but then prioritization, right?
Or is it lack of buy-in from the organization or something else that we haven't thought of here? But then please write it in the chat. I think it would be awesome to hear your perspective on it, because the better and the more nuances we can get on this, the better we also able to help, of course, in terms of figuring out how can you benefit from it in the best possible way, but also helping you to lower the barriers for doing it.
And the better we understand the market, the better we can adjust all these tactics and so on and make it work for you and the customers.
Indeed.
And the end goal is the customer, but our job is to make it easier for you to provide it with your customers.
I think it's bridging what the customers want and what works for you as a brand, direct selling or a retailer. Definitely.
And lack of knowledge about the tactics, meaning like, what can you take out of the tactics? Sometimes you know that that's possible and you saw it somewhere and it looks fine.
We will just give it a few extra seconds. If you have any perspectives on this, please chip in. I can see that there's still a few extra that could chip in with some input. Yeah. So if you have any input here, and also I can see that one has so far mentioned other. If you believe that this is not covering it, please type it in the chat, and we would love to hear your perspective on what is then causing companies not to do this.
What could be potential obstacle? What is stopping you? And it would be great to have an input. Are we sharing?
We'll share.
We'll
share.
Oh, they're coming. They're still coming. Yeah.
But I think as expected, what you'll see here is that there's actually a fine balance between the two. But lack of time and resources is the number one, of course, because I think we can all recognize it. Time and resources is just a killer. There's always things to do. There's always new ideas to be executed.
Yes. To finish, to add on top and to do, I think, and the resources itself, like, oh, do I need to add a little extra? What will then bring me out of it? Is it worth it? But I need time, but I need time for this. Balancing, making your day life easier is very hard when it comes to innovating and implementing new things and boosting up. And then you need to value the worth, and is it actually worth it off? And I think people tend to forget or just, put it on later, I'll do it and so on. But also lack of resources can be lack of the data, meaning that lack of the right data. So you can make it easier, where you can make it work for yourself.
But I think there's also many things here that is like, it also depends on how you go about it. I think another interesting point here is that lack of knowledge about the tactics.
I'm happy to see that.
Is also a high one.
I'm actually happy to see that.
Yeah, both yes and no. I think it means that
we're doing something good over here, providing you new information. Honestly, that's how I see it. But the other side, you not being aware of what else, how can you utilize the use of your digital catalog? But I am happy in terms of that you definitely gained the valuable information over here, because hopefully this was insightful for you.
Yeah, I think it actually at least proves that there was a reason for hosting the webinar, and hopefully you got some takeaways here that you can use.
But it is on the other side, because sometimes this lack of knowledge can be reflected to lack of awareness. Oh, I didn't even know that I can actually do that.
True.
Or this can serve me to this point, And that's why we are here. And that's why we want to help each other, because you give us your opinion. We help you along the way, and then we take the most out of it. And lack of buy-in for organization, that's a common. That happens here and there.
True, it does. And that's also expected. Of course, it takes time. And I think together with the knowledge and the time and resources, that is a thing that needs to be addressed. But in general, I would say
once you set and connect all the dots and set a place for yourself, then I think that lack of buy-in from the organization disappears eventually.
Yeah.
When you realize and when you put all the words, okay, I do this give me that. Well, maybe that's not that bad, or not that expensive, or not that unnecessary.
True. Yeah. So I think that was the last question for today. There's still a few more slides, right?
There are a few more slides before we proceed to Q&A sessions. And this is just the last one to wrap it up for the overall session that we had. And we have a little short digital presentation that you can kind of relate to the timeline we had at the very beginning. What do you need to do to make the most out of your digital catalogs as you are doing with your printed version, meaning that how can you utilize it? How can you maximize all the potential, as we assume that we are all doing it from the print? What to do in digital world to have at least, not equal, ideally equal take out of it, but like better than now. And yes, I know you said that the lack of time and resources might be an obstacle, might be a problem, but it is really important to dedicate it and, set it as a priority here and there. So it's hard at the beginning, but once you start running, everything just makes easier. There are many different ways to automate versions. There are many different ways to make your life easier. It's just, you got to start from somewhere. And the beginning, as in every different life case scenario, is super hard. So once you start, once you put that little extra effort, a little extra time, take a little extra resources, or just provide yourself, make it will bring you results. And then it will eventually become easier and it will become natural. And then it will show results.
Indeed. And I think that's also a thing that we keep on hearing, which is that everybody knows the value of the print, right? And it has been proven for years and nobody want to skip it for a good reason. But at the same time, there's a need for figuring out equally efficient channels online that can drive demand. And for that, indeed, the catalog is still super efficient because it is inspiring. It's
familiar,
curated and
it's there.
Exactly.
If it did the purposes,
but you just need to approach it differently.
And you need to think it through. And hopefully now, with the tactics that we shared, it will be easier for you to approach the matter of the digital catalogs and improvement of the one too. And that's basically.
But I think I see the time is running.
Yes,
so maybe we should switch to the Q&A. And before we go there, actually, maybe we should just go to the next slide and just present them.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then go to the Q&A.
So we make sure that let me say something in Q&A, please shoot the questions.
Yeah.
Once we don't cover now, if we don't cover it now, which we probably won't have time for all of them as time is running, we'll get back to you later and we'll make sure to cover it in the feedback. But this one is super important. Is the resources that you can request after this webinar. There are 4 different ones. You can have them all. You can have one. It really depends on your own personal preferences. We, of course, encourage you that more the merrier. And we would like to share our gain knowledge that we gathered through many years presence in the market. The first one is proof of concept, as you all know. Store metaphor handbook, more in detail once we covered at the very beginning, just briefly. Then we have catalog assessment. We can do the personal assessment of your catalog and tell you, oh, this is great. This is not, maybe this could potentially be improved. You can add this and that. And again, shopping survey, my colleague Chris mentioned it throughout the webinar. We did it last year. We'll be doing it this year too. It's just the knowledge that we're gaining out of the consumers directly. What do they want? What do they need? And what is there to learn, out of the market?
And actually, I will send a message to all of you right now
in the chat,
where you'll receive a link. And I think for both Melissa and I, it's super important. Not only can you request the resources here, but actually you can also give us feedback on how the learnings has been from this webinar, how the experience has been and so forth, which we value a lot to also improve further for future webinars.
We also want to do that.
Yeah.
It's the whole point.
So please go in there and fill it out.
Yeah.
And tomorrow you'll receive a recording from this webinar as well. In a second, we'll switch over to Q&A. So please just keep on typing your questions and then let's take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. How many time do we have? Like 2 minutes, 3?
Yes. So I think we'll just take a few of the questions that has come in here. And I think there's one here. I'll just look. One here is commenting and saying like they would like to do this, but as the poll also showed, time and resources is really a challenge. So what is the typical way of going about this if you like really want to do it, but you're having a hard time dedicating the time?
I can see you elaborated on that one. Well, let's approach it this way. It really depends on how you approach a problem. It's a great question and it can be tricky for many of us, but the way we go in iPaper, can I answer it that way? I think it's the easier for us and you guys too, is that we have implemented success framework. And once you're all in and running with us, we'll actually position you where you are now in your digital transition process. What do you have? What resources? Where are you placed? What is going on? And where can we start from? The starting is the hardest. Yes, we, identify the beginner's point and we'll take it from there. Step by step. We know where your goal is, but this is where you are now. And that's how we should go about it.
Agreed.
And eventually we reach that, but we always you need to start step by step, like our guides or metaphor, advices, and we'll make sure to go to it together.
Yeah.
That's how we approach it. We work together. We are there for our customers. We want to brainstorm with the strategies and the tactics, and we want to help you do the best you can.
And in best case, many of the things can be automated, right? So
absolutely.
So it's a matter of also looking at the resources, the process that you have today, and figuring out where can we actually automate a lot of things that a computer could do instead of a human.
And that's exactly what we were mentioning. Like once you put a little extra effort at the beginning, it becomes easier along the way.
Yeah. So oftentimes we can enable our customers to do it easier and more smooth.
Absolutely.
I think for the ones who have a tight deadline now, feel free to jump out from the webinar. We'll send a recording after.
Sure.
I think we'll just continue with a few more questions.
Absolutely.
And then
if you have time,
please
feel free to stay.
And then they also in the recording.
Yes.
I can see there's a question here about how can the nearest store be incorporated? Is this an implementation already in the enterprise version of iPaper? And what configurations are needed?
Just to make sure that when we say enterprise version, that's a different package that we offer in iPaper. It's an external link.
Yeah, I think
it's as simple as that.
Indeed. And I think there's a couple of ways you can go about it, but there is a lot of alternative CTAs beyond products. There's typically a lot of extra CTAs that you can enable in a flipbook tool. And if we look at our own tool, what we are providing is pop-ups. We have a news bar at the bottom and stuff like that to put focus on some of these alternative conversion points.
Yes.
And that is where, without further integration or anything like that, you can place
whatever you
external
wish
link on any of these CTAs and point traffic there.
Yeah.
So it could also be download an app or something like that.
It really matters of your own design and of your personal preferences. How do you want it to have it? Will you have like Google displayed immediately? Will you have just a few stores highlighted that are, for instance, click and collect, right?
Indeed.
It really is from you, but yes, it can be placed wherever you want, however you want, from click in to actual page, and so on.
And that's also where you can be creative. It is basically just a matter of taking advantage of these extra conversion points that are available.
Yes. Anything else?
Yeah, I think we have another one here. One is asking if we were to start doing this. There's a lot of advices that are placed here today, right, and given. But where should you start if you haven't implemented any of this yet? What would be the ideal place to start?
As we said, stage by stage, right? So you start with inspiration first. You added additional content. You make it interactive. You make it engaging, and then each one action follows one another. It really depends what you want to kind of achieve at the end of the day. Like, what do you want to accomplish with it? If you want to accomplish to drive sales, then you implement the basket and then you have it. Okay, that's one way to go, because then you just want to run more sales. You add different points of conversion, and that's just fine, right? Then you can add all the additional details along the way. If something else is on the end goal, I think it really is very individual and personal matter that we need to discuss. And that's basically what our job is. We discuss the strategy and the wishes with our customers, and then we see where we'll take it off.
But I think there's also something here that ties back to the buy-in, right? Like, we didn't cover it a lot today, but attract is the first stage we have in the
store metaphor.
Store metaphor. Thank you. And I think there's actually a question sometimes also when we talk buy-in that you got to ask yourself before start doing this, because the honest answer is, if you don't intend to drive a lot of traffic to the format, then you shouldn't do it, because then it's not time worth it.
No.
So basically you got to ask your organization and challenge on, is this really something that we want to do? Do we want to dedicate the resources to do it? And if the answer is yes, do all of what we talked about today. But honestly, if you don't want to prioritize it, then it will require some time. No matter if you automate it or not, it will require some time. But we also see the one who dedicate the time to it. It pays off.
It pays off at the very end. And
but
then
it needs to be a priority.
Catalog coming from the little, bot from the drop to the main page, and check out the catalog first. And that's how kind of it goes at the very end.
Exactly.
And it's your perception. Like, how do you see it?
And then it's a matter of looking at what you have today, what would be natural to build on top. And for that, we have a success framework that we're using with our customers, where we're sitting down and mapping out where are you in this and what is the natural next steps to make it efficient and to
just to utilize basically, to utilize the maximum potential and to align with your end goal at the very end.
Indeed.
Yeah. I think
that's the last one here.
Okay. I was like, we have time?
Yeah, I think that's the last one. And then let's wrap it up.
Okay.
One is asking if they can do this directly with the print PDF, or they would have to design a PDF for digital.
Oh, I actually get that question a lot in my meetings, to be honest. They're like, oh, but how do I do that? You start with a print PDF, and that's the whole point out of it. So the idea is that you recycle the information that you already have. These are the resources, not the information, the data and the resources. So you start with a regular PDF. And then you add the enrichments and features on the top of that, if you want to make it, as we advised you, more interactive engagement and so on. And once you are comfortable and familiar with all the tactics, let's call it that way, that you can do, it would be ideal case scenario that you plan the printed version and design the printed version that it suits better in the digital world, especially if you want to make it as good as the cases that we displayed, right? True. Then you just put a little extra thoughts before you hand it out to the print. How would that look if I added a little icon or a GIF and so on? That's an ideal case scenario. But you can start with just a print that you have right now and work with what you have and take the most out of it.
Yeah.
How so you fit, the additional information.
There's no actual requirement about changing anything, but of course it improves the experience.
Absolutely.
If you definitely on mobile, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I think an extra takeaway in this is also that front page is super important for many companies working with catalogs.
Printed one, you mean? Yeah.
Last page is also super important because you don't know how the catalog's picked up. So that's where you place the most interesting offers.
Yeah.
But many actually tend to forget that when you go online, last page will go last. Yes. So there's something there as well on considering whether the last page should be moved so that the interesting offers you have on the last page also gets exposure.
The beginning. If there are the products, the offers that you want to push very much within that session. Yeah. Indeed. Maybe different positioning.
Yeah. I think that was it.
Yeah.
That's at least the questions for now. But if you have anything extra, then reach out after.
Any one of us. We are there for you. We're there to help you along the way. We hope this was super useful. I had very much fun with this. And thank you, Chris, so much for being
of course
here with me. The pleasure was ours. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Fill out that feedback form so we actually know where can we improve, what can we add next time, and what can we do better, basically. We really want to do that.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
See you next time, I guess.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.